The moment you set a boundary with a narcissist is the moment you find out exactly who they are. Because a healthy person hears a boundary and thinks, okay, I can respect that. A narcissist hears a boundary and thinks, how do I get around this? What happens next follows a predictable pattern. Almost every narcissist runs through the same 5 stages of resistance when you start standing up for yourself. Once you know what's coming, they lose the element of surprise. Stage 1. Disbelief and testing. The first time you set a boundary, they won't take it seriously. They'll laugh it off, ignore it, or act like you didn't say it at all. They might even push past the boundary immediately just to see if you'll enforce it. This is a test. They're checking whether you actually mean it or whether you'll fold under pressure like you have before. How you respond in this moment sets the tone for everything that follows. If you let it slide, they learn that your boundaries are suggestions. If you hold firm, they move to Stage 2. Stage 2. Anger and intimidation. When testing doesn't work, they escalate. Now the boundary itself becomes the offense. How dare you draw a line? Who do you think you are? You'll hear things like, you've changed, or you never used to be like this. The anger isn't really about the boundary. It's about what the boundary represents. A loss of control. They've been operating under the assumption that your needs would always come second to theirs. Your boundary just challenged that assumption, and the rage you're seeing is the sound of their control structure cracking. This is the stage where most people cave. The anger feels personal and intense, and your instinct is to smooth things over, to back down, to restore peace. But understand this. The anger is the evidence that your boundary is working. If it didn't threaten their control, they wouldn't be reacting this strongly. Stage 3. The guilt campaign. When anger doesn't break you, they switch strategies completely. Now they become the victim. The aggression disappears and is replaced by sadness, hurt, and disappointment. They'll say things like, I can't believe you'd treat me this way. Or, I guess I'm just not important to you anymore. Or the classic, after everything I've done for you. This is calculated. They've learned from experience that your empathy is your weakness. If they can make you feel guilty for having a boundary, you might remove it yourself. You'll start thinking, maybe I was too harsh. Maybe I'm being selfish. Maybe I should compromise. That doubt is the guilt campaign working exactly as intended. A reasonable person would have a conversation about the boundary. A narcissist performs a tragedy about it. Stage 4. The smear campaign. If guilt doesn't work privately, they take it public. They start telling other people their version of events. You're controlling. You've become difficult. You're not the person they used to be. The goal is to build an audience of people who see you as the problem, which serves 2 purposes. First, it isolates you from your support network. If your friends and family are hearing the narcissist's version of events, you lose the people who would normally validate your experience. Second, it creates social pressure on you to back down. Now it's not just the narcissist pushing against your boundary. It's everyone who believed their story. Stage 5. The hoover. Named after the vacuum cleaner because they try to suck you back in. When nothing else works, the narcissist suddenly becomes the person you always wanted them to be. They're kind, attentive, apologetic. They might even acknowledge what they did wrong, something they've never done before. This is the most dangerous stage because it feels like proof that they can change. You think, finally, they get it. Finally, they understand. But what's actually happening is a strategic reset. They're giving you just enough of what you need to lower your defenses. Once you drop the boundary and let them back in fully, the cycle restarts from the beginning. Here's the most important thing to understand about all 5 stages. None of them are about respecting your boundary. Every single stage is a different strategy for removing it. The approach changes, but the goal never does. So how do you hold your ground through all of this? First, expect the stages. When you know the anger is coming, it doesn't blindside you. When you know the guilt trip follows the anger, you can name it in your head as it happens. Predictability is your armor. Second, stop explaining your boundary. You don't need to justify it. You don't need to debate it. You don't need to make them understand it. A boundary is not a negotiation. It's a statement of what you will and will not accept. The more you explain, the more entry points you give them to argue. Third, watch for the hoover. When they suddenly become everything you wanted, remember that the change happened because your boundary threatened their control, not because they had a genuine realization. Real change happens slowly, in therapy, over months. Not overnight because they're losing access to you. You have the right to set boundaries without being punished for it. The person who punishes you for protecting yourself has just shown you exactly why the boundary was necessary in the first place. Follow for more on how to protect your peace around difficult people.